the eighth house in astrology. And yeah, okay. So let me see. I just want to make sure that this is working. We'll give people a time to kind of come in the room. And I just want to say, if you don't know your astrological placements, go to astro.com, and that's astro.com, and find your astrological placements. You're specifically looking at the eighth house and any planets that may be in that eighth house. So when I'm going to be reading to you about the eighth house, you're going to know this is going to be more descriptive on maybe your, you know, your taste in intimacy and how you may be with intimacy. And sometimes you could be with a partner and there could be some differences, and you're like, well, I don't understand this person, and how come they're this way and I'm this way? Well, you could have some differences as far as what you're interested in. So this could really sometimes make or break a relationship, and knowing this. So anyway, hopefully this video is helpful to you guys in knowing what the eighth house is. Hey Ned, how are you? Yeah, so follow along. And again, it's astro.com to find out where your astrological placements are. And we're looking for that eighth house specifically, and any planets in that eighth house. And I'm going to go through each and every sign and tell you what it means, and all the planets and what it means to be in that eighth house as well. And you may want to also take notes, or play this video again if you're looking at a partner's chart too, to see what they may be interested in that way as well. So, hey Susie, how are you? Okay, so that being said, let's look. Let me just refresh this page. There we go. Because I'll be honest with you, when I do these, when I do relationship advisor sessions, I get asked a lot of questions in regards to intimacy, and I'm not sure if I'm compatible with my partner. I'm not sure if I'm, what he or she's looking for, and I'm not sure if my partner's happy when it comes to our intimate relationship. And sometimes we're with a partner, maybe they really don't want to tell us, especially maybe one partner's conservative and the other person's like really wild, and they're afraid if I say something that I'm interested in, my partner who's more conservative may totally not want to be with me. Or, it could be something, vice versa, like my partner is afraid to tell me things that he's, maybe it's considered taboo or eccentric or whatever. And, so I think good communication is important, but astrology can give you a lot of a heads up as far as what a partner may be interested in a sexual way. Hey, Heather. Hey Heather, we're not doing general readings today. This is about sex and intimacy and love. And so we're going to see about each sign. So, okay, now again, if you do not know your astrological placements, astro.com, you may want to pause this video, find your placements, figure out where your eighth house is. Whatever planet shows your eighth house, then this is the planet you're going to be following. And then whatever sign rules that house, you're going to want to watch that sign and any planet in that house as well. So let's talk about Aries. Aries in the eighth house. Aries people can be rather, I want to say, aggressive and assertive when it comes to love and intimacy. And they may not be they may not need a lot of foreplay at all. Their idea of foreplay could be brace yourself. Sometimes some of them could be interested in S&M, and their head can be their erogenous zone, so they may like a lot of like head massages, scalp massages, or somebody who plays with their hair, things like this. But it's not a shy. Aries is not a shy sign when it comes to intimacy. They can be assertive and rather aggressive. This is not somebody who would touch in a very sensitive and like real delicate way. They can want to be touched in a more aggressive way, so anyway, check with your partner before being all aggressive, make sure. Okay, so if your eighth house is in Taurus, they may, and also if your eighth house is in Aries, or if you have Mars in the eighth house, that would apply to eighth, so we're going to Aries or Mars. Okay. Now, if your eighth house is Taurus, or if you have Venus in the eighth house, thank you for the thumbs up and the hearts, you guys. So if you have eighth house in Taurus or Venus, you know, your partner may like things more sensual. The senses are heightened. The taste, touch, smell, all of that could be a lot, you know, more heightened. So slow massages involving food, maybe whipped cream or strawberries or honey, stuff like this. They might like their partner to really smell nice too, because the senses are even heightened. And the neck can be the erogenous zone for Taurus, and they may put more energy into their appearance because they are ruled by Venus, you know. And sex itself can be slow but very powerful. And I would say they could be also romantic and like music as well, because you know, that's the, you know, the senses of hearing, you know. So if you're incorporating the more of the senses and their sense of touch, they may like soft things like soft pillows and blankets, and you know, things that are feel good on the skin, you know. um, so their whole thing of sensuality and their senses are so heightened that could add to their experience. Okay, so if you have your eighth house in Gemini or in Virgo, or if you, I'm sorry, or if you have Mercury, I don't know why I put Virgo there, it's Mercury, or if you have Mercury in the eighth house, you may like conversation in bed. You may like to tell your partner what you want, or what, you know, he or she is doing for you. But communication could be huge for you as far as intimacy is concerned. And I would say your erogenous zone is your mind. You want somebody who's smart and witty and can keep up with you on a mental level too. I will say, sorry, I will say for you guys, the looks may get you in the bedroom, but it's your mind that's going to keep you there, you know. They like somebody who's really smart and intellectual. And I want to say this is one of the most sexual signs in the zodiac is Gemini. Okay. The only difference between this Gemini and Scorpio, Scorpio is also a very sexual sign, is Gemini tend to maybe like to date more than one person at the same time. And they may have a hard decision choosing a partner, and they could be into more than one person, like threesome or something like this. And to commit to just one person sexually may be difficult for them. But it doesn't mean like I'm not going to want any hate stuff about, oh, that's not me. It also depends on if you have any planets in that eighth house too, and what else is going on in your chart. Okay. This is just a generalization video. Okay. But Geminis, I want to say, you know, intellect, communication is huge. So they could be, you know, huge on, you know, maybe dirty talk or whatever, you know. So yeah. All right. So let's talk as well on Joe's Gemini. Yeah, she said those Geminis. Oh boy. Oh, Shannon, she says that's so true on Taurus. Now the eighth house in Cancer, or if you have your moon in the eighth house, okay, they may like to talk about their feelings to bring them closer and intimate to their partner. Okay, they like to feel cared and nurtured. Their erogenous zone could be the breasts, okay, and if you're a man, obviously your chest. And they may seem a bit shy or reserved in an intimate way, but they like to feel as if they're your first and your only partner that you've ever had. And then many of them tend to feel insecure and jealous if they're thinking about you. Well, where did you get this? Where did you do this with? Well, when did you do this with that partner? They want to feel like you've done that with them and only them. So my advice to you is, if you're dating someone with the eighth house of Cancer, you know, if you have an idea about, oh my God, let's, you know, do this. And if they say, did you do that with somebody else? And just say, I want to not talk about the past. I want to just have this moment with you. You know, the more they think that you've done this with someone else, it becomes an insecurity. Okay, and they can't get insecure and jealous thinking about you with someone. So, and they love an attentive partner, okay, who makes them feel nurtured. And then talking about the feelings is going to be huge. Somebody who's open with their feelings. Somebody who's more reserved with holding back their feelings need not apply here, because it's going to make them feel more insecure. Okay, all right. And it's going to make your sex life a lot better if you're dating someone with moon in the eighth or in Cancer, whose eighth house is ruled by Cancer, to express your feelings, because they feel more secure and open to be more sexual. So this is only going to benefit you if you're more open with your feelings. Okay. All right. And it would make them come out of their shell in a big way. All right. So if you have your eighth house in Leo, or if you have the sun in the eighth house, okay, So I would say compliments get you everywhere in the bedroom with this person. You make them feel like royalty, they will make you feel like royalty. And they're fiery and passionate, and they exude a lot of confidence in the bedroom. They are the bomb. They are. If you make them feel like they're the hostess with the mostest, then you're good to go. They feel wonderful, and they'll make you feel that way too. But because they're the most confident in this area of their chart, and if you cheat on them or insult their ability to please, you'll surely get booted out, not only out of the bedroom, but maybe out of their life, So be careful of that. Their erogenous zone is their heart. And so appeal to them by showing them that you love and care about them, and they will return the favor in a very generous way because they're the very generous sign. And when it comes to intimacy, they could be very generous in that way as well. So make them feel like a king or a queen, and they will return that favor as well. Okay, so the eighth house, if you have eighth house in Virgo, or you have Mercury in this eighth house as well, this person likes they're into the environment. They want the environment to be perfect. Okay, they're into cleanliness and the bedding and the sheets and everything to be smelling nice. And they usually have, more times than not, they like to have good hygiene. Okay. So if the partner is like stinky or smelly after work or sweaty, they may say, "Ooh, take a shower first," or don't you want to get cleaned up, like that. If the bed's not made, oh, let's clean it up, make sure it's tidy first. These are the planners of the zodiac. This is not somebody who's going to want to have intimacy that's spontaneous. So they like to make sure everything's wonderful and nice and smells good, and that their hygiene is good. And they're not the type of person who wants to have sex in an unusual place and environment. And sex outdoors, I would not say is their thing, unless they feel it's in a very clean and tidy kind of environment. And they can be critical of themselves and also sometimes of their partner. Okay, so somebody with this placement needs to be careful of hurting their partner's feelings in a very maybe blunt way with something that they're saying. But I will say, having Virgo in the eighth house is this sign aims to please. They will go out of their way to try to please their partner. And Virgo is in the eighth house, is known for giving great massages. Or if you have Mercury here too, they tend to be givers in bed. And I will say it's all about the details with them. So if you're looking to plan an intimate vacation or a weekend, and if you're dating somebody with Virgo in the eighth, oh my gosh, they will make a most wonderful weekend for you. It'll make it a weekend to remember. And good conversation is always very important as well, because this sign is ruled by Mercury, or if you have Mercury here. So conversation is going to be key too. Okay. So, all right. On to the next sign. All right. So if you have your eighth house in Libra, or if you have, again, Venus, just like the same thing as Taurus, Venus rules Taurus and Libra. So in the eighth house, they like their surroundings to be beautiful, and anything tacky or sleazy need not apply, including people. So they want to be classy. They want it beautiful. So taking someone to a Motel 6, they're going to be like, oh, heck no. If you said to them, I planned a weekend and we're going to go to Hawaii, and this, they're like, yeah, game on. They're into all about something classy, something beautiful, and elegance and grace. Appearances are very important to them, and public appearances too, along with the physical appearance. So if you're sloppy and you don't care much about yourself, and this is going to be a huge turnoff to them. So let's say if you're going on a weekend getaway and you're not really caring about what you look like in your swimsuit or whatever, or this sign, I hate to say, to be very honest, don't let yourself go. You don't want to let yourself go physically. And let's say that now to be honest with you, I have friends who are big girls and little girls, small, petite, or whatever. But if you take the time to figure out what suits you and what looks best on you, so if you're looking like something, it's kind of like really sleazy or something, this is not, it has to be classy and elegant, but yet sexy, I would say the back and the neck can be the erogenous zones for this sign, and they may like to involve something sweet or edible into their intimacy too, as well, because this sign is ruled by Venus, and Venus can be indulging, and indulging into places that are beautiful, food that's just sweet, you know, and so they may like honey, strawberries, whipped cream, something like this as well. But I want to say that the key here is class, elegance, and grace, and because appearances are hugely important to these people. Okay, so eighth house in Scorpio, or if you have Mars or Pluto in the eighth house. Okay, now this is a very deep and intense would be your key word here. They are super sexual. Yet deep, only they only want that one person, that mind body soul connection, and they may have tend to have intimacy rather quickly, as they want to know their partner from the inside out. And this is a highly intuitive, almost psychic sign. Okay, so their thinking is, you know, once they're intimate with someone, it's kind of like their intuition or their psychic ability to just kind of know things about their partner, you know, and this is why they tend to get more intimate sooner than later. Okay. The erogenous zone for these people would be the genitals, and they want something real, and anything fake need not apply, and they will know and call you on your fakeness, you know, so they'll say, hey, you know, you're not real, you know. So if you treat them like a good time instead of a long time, they're going to call you on it. If you I want to say treat them like an option instead of a priority, they're going to call you on it. They're not going to put up with any of that. This sign is not about pretense at all. This is about sincerity, depth, and something deep and real, big time. And sex with them, I want to say, is very so intense. It can be transformative not only for themselves but for their partner too, because of the intensity of it, and because of this intense connection. This can bring a lot of you know, jealousy and possessiveness sometimes, because both parties feel this intense nature because of the sexual connection. Now, I will say, if you cheat on them, if they're operating from the Phoenix, okay, there's two octaves, there's a couple octaves in for Scorpio. If they're operating from the Phoenix side of things, they're just going to walk away from you and never speak to you again if you cheat on them or do them wrong. They will never give you another chance. Let me tell you, they do not forget crap. So I will say that if they're operating on the Scorpion end of things, they may get even in some way. So watch out. You know, they're not playing when it comes to intimacy. They want something passionate and real. Okay. If okay, sex seems to heighten their sense of intuition about their partner. So that is why they kind of know things. So if you're skirting around and, you know, being a little secretive, they intuitively know. And they're also the investigators of the zodiac. So they will find out what's going on. So you don't want to cheat on somebody, especially with Scorpio ruling the eighth. They know before they even know. It's like they know intuitively, you know. So it's passionate. And I want to say this is a very hard place for Scorpio, because when love is good, it's good. But when it sucks, you know, because it's so intense. The key word here is intense and passionate, you know. So, but it can be transformative in a very deep and passionate, wonderful way, though, in relationships. Okay, so if you have your eighth house in Sagittarius, or if you have Jupiter in the eighth house, okay, this person may like to be part of the Mile High Club. And, you know, like they may like to have sex in planes and outdoors that could really turn them on, or doing things. You know, they may like partners from foreign lands. They may even be more apt to be intimate, even while traveling, you know, cars or whatever. They may like a partner that is smart and with the high moral compass, though, you know, somebody who's, you know, they like to be adventurous in their sexual nature, but they're also, I think, wanting somebody to be more moral in their in the moral compass, as far as their beliefs are concerned about things. And it could be spiritual beliefs as well. I want to say they're fiery and passionate, but they love their freedom as well. So their erogenous zones can be the hips and the thigh region. So if you have Mercury here, I want to say they may be turned on by someone who speaks a foreign language even. Okay. All right. So if you have your eighth house in Capricorn, or if you have Saturn here, okay. Now, I want to say, if you have your eighth house in Capricorn, this person may have been a late bloomer in the sex department, or they take sex very seriously. You know, they take sexuality very seriously. This line is slow to cook, You know, so take your time. The whole thing is taking your time. And this person is known to have a lot of stamina. So the Energizer Bunny, you know, thing that goes, it can last and last and last and last would be them. You know, they may take a while to achieve climax. So that's why they can last forever. So if you're somebody with your eighth house in Aries, who you could be a minute man or minute woman, and foreplay to you is brace yourself, you may not want to date somebody with eighth house Capricorn because it could prove to be like a problem because they could go forever and ever and you could be rather quick. Just saying. So they want to also, if you have your eighth house in Capricorn, they want to make sure that the relationship will go long haul before really investing in a partner. And careful is their middle name, you know, so they could be cautious about, you know, just cautious about the relationship and about intimacy and all that goes with it. They're just, yeah. So, but I feel like when they're younger, they may feel like they have a lot of restrictions when it comes to love and intimacy and sex, but their sex life definitely gets better after 35. Okay. Okay. So if you have your eighth house in Aquarius, or if you have Uranus or Saturn in the eighth house, you may feel like you want to do things differently in the bedroom. You may want to try something new and change things up. And you may like things that maybe not be considered the norm. And you may like sex that is spontaneous. This is a person who doesn't like to plan sex. So if you have your eighth house in Aquarius and you're not a planner and you want something spontaneous and you're like, you know, I just want to try something new. I just having a thought in my head and I'm like, this seems fun. I want to try that today. Well, somebody who has their eighth house in Virgo is not spontaneous and may prove to be a problem here for you because, you know, you're not a planner. You're just like, let's just go off the cuff. Let's just try it out, see how it goes, you know. Somebody who's always into the missionary position and doesn't really want to try new positions out or try new things need not apply either because eighth house in Aquarius is all about, I want to change it up all the time. I want to try everything, you know, like I just want to try something new and just different, you know, they like excitement, you know. They might want to do things, you know, quickly, you know, not even planned. Like they're in an elevator. Oh my God, let's do it here. It'll be fun, you know, something like that. So planning is not really their thing. Some of them can have eccentric fetishes, and this sign I want to say can be rather detached in bed when it comes to intimacy and feelings. They can really separate the two. Okay, they can have an active imagination when it comes to sex and new ideas that they want to explore. And if you're, you know, I said that before, if you're a missionary person, you don't apply. And this person can also be into group sex or threesomes, I will say. Okay. So if you have your eighth house in Pisces, or if you have Neptune or Jupiter in the eighth house, okay, this person can be in love with love. This is highly romantic and spiritual sign. So this person may feel that sex transcends, and it goes, you know, from reality into spirituality. Like you're going into another place, you know. Being spiritually connected can be so important to this sign, and they intuitively know what their partner needs and wants. They have like a gift here, I'll tell you. So fantasy is huge for them. So role playing could be fun, but also fantasy can also be better than the reality. So in their mind, they can be like, oh my God, my partner, you know, he's so good like this and this and this, but the reality of him may prove to be disappointing sometimes. Okay. They may also go out of their way to please a partner and be extra romantic and do romantic things for their partner. And their favorite movie could be The Notebook because they feel like, yes, it could really happen and it could happen to them, you know, which is not a bad thing. You know, it's not a bad thing. It's beautiful. So this person may also choose their lover through, they may see their lover through rose-colored glasses, okay? And they can easily be swayed by, you know, and tends to be forgiving to lovers who do them wrong, you know, because this is the most compassionate, Pisces is the most compassionate place in a chart, you know. So they can be extremely compassionate and forgiving to a partner, okay? And they need to be careful of unavailable partners, such as partners who are married or emotionally unavailable, okay? They tend to fall in love rather easily, and they're known to satisfy their partner sexually because of their keen sense of intuition, okay? They just know what you want and need, you know. So anyway, I hope this was helpful to you guys, and just a little information. And again, you want to look at the rulers to these places too and see what it gives you more information. But sometimes you can see total issues within a relationship. So if anytime you guys are thinking about booking a relationship advisor session with me, and some, you know, had a few people say, you know, I think something's wrong, you know, this person, I found out this person's having an affair, and I immediately go to the eighth house. Okay, is there a sexual issue? Is there an incompatibility issue? Is there an issue with maybe the moons, or like what their greatest need is, or they're not beginning emotionally satisfied, or is it a communication thing? You know, we look at Mercury, you know. So I look at a lot of things, not just the eighth house in a relationship advisor session, just so you know. So it's just a part of it. But sex is a huge thing in relationships, and sometimes incompatibility can prove to be very problemsome. So anyway, I hope this is helpful to you guys and to know what to expect. So I hope this is accurate. Somebody says, "Yeah, I'm so true about Capricorn in the eighth." Yeah, and Jupiter and Taurus in the eighth. Yeah, and I hope this was helpful to you guys. My relationship is broken. My partner hiding for the last 5 years. Oh, your relationship is okay. Yeah, I will say that sometimes when you look at the placements here, okay, and even the rulerships, you know, you can see like if somebody felt abandoned by somebody, you know, depending on, you know, let's say the ruler, uh, let's say the ruler to the 12th is in the eighth, you know, you feel like you could feel abandoned by a partner or something like this, you know. Um, so you got to look at rulerships too, you know. So, but eighth house in general can show you what you're maybe more apt to be interested in a sexual way, and it can also show you if there's potential problems in a relationship in a sexual way. And sometimes, I remember I had one client, she found out her husband was cheating, and she was so upset about it. And it turned out that, like, she asked me to look at his chart in his eighth house, and I saw that he had some planets in there that would show that he may be into something very different, eccentric, you know, maybe threesomes and stuff like this. And she had said to her at one time, to me at one time, he had asked her if she would include another person, and she's like, no way. And he never brought it up again. And she had made him feel like his ideas were kind of like ew, like gross, you know. So he went outside the marriage, you know. And so I think communication is huge, and knowing what a partner is interested in and knowing about what you're interested in is huge for relationships. Okay. So anyway, I hope this is helpful to you guys, and please like, share, subscribe to Live Visions, and you know, hopefully this maybe can help somebody else too, you know, into looking at their eighth house, you know. And again, that's astro.com to find your planetary placements and your eighth house, and if what planets you have in that eighth house. Now, I had a calculator on my website, but unfortunately, it kept coming up in French, so it was no help to the US clients. So anyway, so I'm sending people there. But anyhow, if you would like to have a relationship advisor session for me, please go to LiveVisions, LiveVisionz.com. You know, on the internet, and go to services and go to relationship advisor sessions, and I'd be happy to do one for you. Sometimes it's partners can be very either intimidated to talk to a partner about what they're interested in, or they can be very you know, I want to say the other person may find that what they're interested in is like taboo, or I'm not interested in that, or, but it's good to know. Like when I was reading for this woman and I told her the planets that he had and what it could mean, she said he's mentioned that once. She goes, but I thought he was kidding. And I'm like, I don't think so, you know? And so, because what from what I read to her, and then she really believed that he wasn't kidding when he brought it up to her, you know? So I think that he, because of her reaction was so that he was afraid to talk to her about what he wanted, you know. So I think this is huge and important in a relationship. So anyway, please like, share, subscribe, and hopefully this can help somebody. I will talk to you guys soon, and hopefully it helped you too. Bye-bye.